All right, you guys, thanks for clicking on the video today. What we got going in this video is we're going to do a quick little part install, or at least I think it's going to be quick, but we'll see how that goes. Today we're going to be installing a Grimmspeed master cylinder brace. So basically, to kind of explain the purpose of this car, just so for some backstory, it's got fresh brakes, good pads, it's got the Hawk HPS 5.0s, Legacy GT rotors, Legacy GT calipers, StopTech stainless steel braided brake lines. I recently installed a hydraulic handbrake, and it's an inline handbrake, so you can't really see it, but there's the inline master cylinder. There's 4 stainless steel braided brake lines that go to the main brake lines over there. If you want to see how I did that, I'll put a card up to the video up here somewhere. But with all that stuff, the pedal feel is still kind of spongy, and I don't think it's because I didn't bleed the hydro correctly. The brakes work fine, doesn't feel like it has air in it. They're just not very firm. And what some people say is that these chassis, they have flex in the firewall. So when you press the brakes hard, it actually, instead of pushing that pressure into the master cylinder, it actually pushes the master cylinder and brake booster away from the firewall. So that's where you get that kind of spongy feel. So the purpose of this master cylinder brace is it replaces this fuel line bracket here and mounts to the strut tower, and then pushes pressure on the front of the master cylinder to keep it from moving forward. So all that force that you're pressing onto the pedal, instead of pushing the master cylinder out, it actually goes into the master cylinder and applies brake pressure. And that idea makes sense to me, but we'll see if it's an actual issue. I'm not sure, never experienced this before, but I got the part, so we're going to install it. I actually bought one of these a few years ago and then never ended up installing it because the flex fuel computer that I had was mounted in like the same spot that this kit is mounted. So I didn't feel like rewiring it, reorganizing it, and remounting it. So I just didn't install it. But now, since I don't have the computer in there and I'm thinking about redoing my fuel system when I do stage 3 again, I think now's the time to install it, and then I can design the fuel system and computer mounting around this bracket because I want it in there. So let me show you what comes in the box, and then we can get started installing it. So all that comes in the box is the bracket itself, these 2 mounting points right here where my thumb is, and right up here, that's where your fuel system bolts up to, and then this is where the brace goes on, and then this bolts to your strut tower. So pretty simple bracket, and then it comes with hardware, spacers, the piece that presses up against the master cylinder. So that's what comes in the kit. Let's get this installed. All right, so I should give you guys a little idea of what the brake pressure I'm talking about here is like. Sorry for the noise, but like I can drive around and press the brakes normally and the car stops. Like this is where it starts to like stop. But if I press really hard, like right now it feels pretty good actually. But you see how it kind of goes down? Like I can press really hard and it just keeps kind of going down until it stops. So I think that's maybe the flex. Maybe we could try to film it and see if we could see any flex. So I just looked at the video clip I just took filming the master cylinder as I pressed the brakes really hard, and just looking at it in the viewfinder, it's really small, hard to see, but I think I could see some flexing. I guess we'll tell once I get it into the editor and see what it looks like on a bigger screen, but it looks like there was some flex, so maybe this product will work better than I think it will, but let's get it installed. Okay, so this whole piece right here, this stays. That bracket that this piece mounts to is what's going to come off and be replaced by the master cylinder brace. And to get that off, it looks like, we can see down here, we just need to take out those 2 bolts, and then that'll come off and we can put the new one in. There's the old bracket. Old bracket out. This bracket, it goes in like this into the car. So you have these two holes in the front and these two holes in the back. So these two holes use short bolts and these two holes use long bolt. In that bag of hardware, it comes with 2 long bolts and then 2 short bolts. So these are for the back ones and these are for the front ones. The bracket is not in there anymore. You can see the 2 bolt holes right there. That's where the short bolts are gonna go. And then the long bolts, I need to take those other 2 bolts out right there. Those are where like I think this piece of wire is supposed to plug into there, but I don't have that piece in there anymore. So I just need to remove those bolts, but that's the other mounting location. Let's try a different approach. There we go. Come on. All right. I'm gonna struggle with this for probably 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. It's just not easy to access these bolts. So I'm gonna do it off camera, and then if I find any good tricks or solutions to make this easier, I'll let you know. So I was able to get it in. You can see that it's in there now. The easiest way to get the bolt started is actually to put your hand in through here, and then you can kind of pull this out of the way and access these front bolts and the rear bolts. So you can see those 2 bolts there, and then that top back one is the hardest one to get to. What I ended up doing was putting the bolt on a magnet and holding it like holding it in front of kind of where the hole was, and then came in underneath with a just this extension with the 10 mil and started it by hand. But it's all tight now. I think I might need to use the spacers because it is contacting this metal piece here. Using the factory long bolts to install the deal back on there, I needed to use these spacers that they included. They just go underneath the rubber isolator bits, and then they thread in again. That's installed. Put this guy back there. Okay. So now we got our fuel lines installed and the bracket installed. And now you can kind of see where that little red piece is gonna go and press up against the master cylinder. We have our foot, I guess you'd call that, 2 nuts and a stud with a Allen key on the end. So you want the Allen key to be facing towards the front of the car. That's how you tighten it. So we're gonna thread this nut down pretty far, stick it into the hole, and then get the other nut started on the other end. Just enough. So now that's in there. We're gonna slip this in the front. The inside nut you want to hold stationary and turn this Allen key, and that's going to put pressure against the front of the master cylinder here. Right now it's loose. We want to get it to the point where it's contacting the face, which it is right here. And then we're going to do 1.5 turns to basically preload it. So holding that in place, that's 1/2 turn. That's a full turn, and then 1.5 turns. Okay, and then we could lock these down. Okay, so that should be tight. This is now very firm. So let's see if that fixes our brake pedal feel. All right, so let's see. I don't know. Can't really tell a difference. It might be a little firmer. feels like and see if I can tell a difference by it driving, but it does feel a little firmer. Press the pedal down as much for it to actually bite. Yeah, they do feel better. I might still need to bleed my brakes again, because I'm not sure I bled them quite right with the hydro, but I might take another shot at bleeding them. But like, I can still press the pedal down pretty far if I press the brakes really hard. That's honestly probably harder than you have to push the brakes, but like my normal driving, the pedal goes down less to actually get the normal braking force that I get. It's probably about like half. So like if I had to push the pedal in this much before, now I'm only having to push it in this much to get the same braking performance. So there is an improvement on the pedal feel, probably similar to the upgrade you get from going to stainless steel braided hoses. Just couldn't tell by the pressing it in my driveway. It still goes down pretty far, but that may be perfectly normal, I'm not sure. But yeah, like just coming to a stop here, I'm having to press the pedal way less than I was before to feel the brakes working. Yeah, like they feel pretty good now. So I'm happy with it. I'm definitely feel a difference, a very noticeable difference. Would recommend. All right, so it seems like this bracket worked. Pedal feel is definitely noticeably better. I think this was a component that my braking system was missing, because now as a whole it definitely feels much better, so I'm happy with it. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. If you aren't subscribed, please consider subscribing, and if you know of somebody who might like this video, please share with them. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.